So, I'm stepping out of the way. He's gonna take this clutch off this thing so we can get it down on the engine stand. Then we'll go into the details of what's going on, what we think is going on, and what we're gonna try to do to fix it so that this customer can get this car back. Finally, it's been here over a year now. It's not been Brad's fault because it's not like a tuning issue. It's just a bunch of overlooked and failure to communicate type of situations.
1,000 horsepower motor. Been street driven a bunch.
Like you said,
Normal situation.
It's a high horsepower engine, street driven, street raced. This isn't a track car. This is a street car. When it came in, it actually had, Brad showed me a minute ago. What door is it?
What is it?
That valve.
It's the next one. We said right there in the little box. Yeah, that's why I think we're here.
So this is the reason that the car is here. We'll try to show you. At some point from here to here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, it was touching the seat.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. It was touching the seat, but wasn't touching everywhere. And let me angle this up a little bit. It was touching half of it. When it came in, they didn't realize it, but it had a cylinder 6. Cylinder 6 what it was.
Yeah,
cylinder 6 had no compression. They done a leak down and found it had an intake valve issue, or exhaust valve. Yeah, exhaust valve issue. So they took the head off of it. Should have been as simple as that. They pulled the engine apart, done a complete health check. Put it back in the car. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. Oh, and the head, they somehow discovered that the cam journals were warped or something. It's whatever. That part, it doesn't even matter. So they had to change the head.
That's much later.
You know, this is, granted, I don't know every detail, but came in with a bent valve and a tune. Found this, got this fixed. There was a problem with the head, so they switched the head out. Got the whole motor gone through A to B, top to bottom, everything you see. We get the car back. There's no oil pressure. We're not going to get into that can of worms today. What we're going to say is when you put oil in this engine, it has an extreme amount of oil pressure, and then it just falls off to nothing and then comes back alive. This was discovered on one attempt of using, the engine with oil in it, and it doesn't matter that it has oil pressure now with oil. What matters is that it was driven without oil. There's really nice stuff in this engine. There should be what rods.
I'm not sure what rods.
We need to find out. Well, we're going to find out what rods, current, everything is in this engine. It should be some really nice high-dollar stuff, and we don't want to damage it. We don't want to kick a rod outside of the block or cause any other issues because we know that it didn't have oil in it. And there's a issue with the pump. Like an LS or whatever, you can shim the pump to create a higher oil pressure. We don't know if there's a failure with the valve inside of there, that the valve is stuck open at some point. Once it opens, it just never closes back. We don't know. Oil pressure's all over the place, and that's what we're going to do today. Is he's going to pull this apart. We're going to start checking this thing out and see what we can find. And hopefully, there's no bearing material, which highly likely that there will be. But hopefully there's
Probably some.
Yeah,
Because
hopefully.
it does still have, right now when it's oil in it does still have oil pressure.
Right.
So it did pressure back up good. And all that looked fine. The engine didn't make any sound. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't have any sounds when it started with oil in it with oil pressure. But we didn't want to take the risk and run it that way and just assume that it's okay because it's not making noise.
This is taking care of your customers. Brad's not making a dime for this. I'm not making a dime for this.
Oh, no,
I'm doing this for Yeah, this is on him now.
Yeah, I'm paid for the engine. It was done while it was at my shop, and you know that's how it is when you're on a shop. It's your responsibility, so you pay for it.
So now this is his baby, and you know he's got to nurse this baby back to health. Unfortunately, it shouldn't even be a problem, but we're going to pull this thing apart right quick, figure out what's going on, and you guys are going to see it just as fast as I do. So let's get the crank or the clutch off of it, and just go from there. Get out of your way. I'll shut up. So you can see the overall weight of this, just for curiosity's sake. Oh wow. Triple. I expected this to be heavy. What sounds like a sleep?
Fruit slip. Never seen it do that, but I've also never heated it up this quick and it's that cold.
Yeah, it's
People jack around. I'll do it directly. On mine, any of these are mine, this is green, just so you're aware. So you can grab a hold of it and go, because everybody does. But I do that so I can actually turn the engine around. This is set up for a RV right now anyways, so that's the stand my motor came off of. I'm gonna need
You literally just told me.
just told you. Okay, that's in place. Here you go.
you literally just told me.
Grab you.
Two JZ, no way.
For real. It really is that. Suprise bucket.
Did you? There's no way you done this. You would have just took that off, right?
Oh, yeah, you know. Whatever. Mistakes that never been made, right? Remember? We've all been told this. No one makes
If you put an engine in for somebody, make sure you put the motor mount bolts all the way in and tight. Side of the block. Just saying.
Alright. So we're gonna have to rearrange a little bit before we start really tearing things.
You get this over there out of the way.
There's gonna be too much. It'll turn into a big pile. So I need to make that a place I can put things.
Okay, we'll be back. So we're in the process of trying to get this motor tore apart, and he's having a very big fit on getting this manifold off. I'm in the process of trying to get the oil pan off of it, and having my very first experience with the gray RTV that they use on these. Where are we at now?
I'm just taking a wild shot in the dark. I'm at 60 foot-pounds, which is way too tight for that bolt, but I can see how you could get there if you snug in one hard, you know. Like
We'll set this camera up here, and we're just going to record and see.
I don't know. I don't remember if we broke that one loose or not already. That one came loose.
You want to get to this other end one real quick, so it's pretty easy to.
I'll get that one right there. I've not broke that one loose for sure. That one's loose.
So far, just the first two were.
The outers. Well, that one's against the that one I don't know if I took it loose or not.
was bouncing on 60. So we know they're at least more than 60 foot-pound.
For sure.
And the first one, he grunted and I actually had to hold the back of the motor still.
Let me try this. That one there, I know I've not got to. It's got an extension on it.
Which means nothing, by the way. I watched a video on that the other day. They had like 5 foot of extension on a ratchet and it was 1 pound of a difference.
Can't do it with a ratchet. It's a wrench only.
Yeah, well, regardless, those should not be that tight. And they're lock nuts, so they should also not even be that tight. And the gasket that's on this is not the gasket that should have been sent with it. Brad ordered a...
No, that's the old gasket reused.
Yeah, he ordered a complete kit, and it's just been copper sprayed and put back on. The old one did. So, don't know what happened to the kit, but oh well.
Oh well.
He's still fighting with that manifold.
Almost done.
And I got the paint off. Well, the second part. There's very few pieces of stuff. I'm assuming this is just little small flakes that's come off. You know, that's been squeezed out over when the paint got put on. There's very minimal stuff, but there is stuff. One piece in particular is that is part of like a Scotch-Brite pad, but that was only one piece. I mean, realistically, you only got one piece in the motor. You know, the filter and the pickup and everything has done its job.
Yep.
So we're gonna make sure we get all this stuff out of the way. Just try to keep as little as possible from making its way into the engine. So I wanted to give you a shot of that. That is an odd color on the oil, like the way it looks.
A little bit of aluminum in there.
Yeah, I'd say
This
you're
was
right.
a completely fresh motor. On the oil that it had in it at one point.
But I'm gonna continue. There is bolts in here. That's what he was telling me about a minute ago.
It's a really nice manifold.
Yeah, it actually is. What is that?
Fuse fabrication.
Some nice copper coat job.
That's a really nice manifold. Good flange.
All right, so I'm gonna cut this. Get back to work. We're back to recording. So he noticed. What was you doing when you noticed it?
I was curiosity. I was trying to figure out the problem. I was trying to figure out why the motor was bending back. So while I was thinking on it, I pulled the plugs out of it. And while it was in the car, right before I pulled it out of the car, pulled all the plugs out of it, and I just started rotating it slowly and just filling the motor. And I noticed that whenever cylinders 2 and 5 are at top dead center, that's when it's the most predominant that you feel a tighter spot in the motor.
So as I'm turning,
Could be unrelated.
I want to show you that the effort right there is starting to lock down.
You see, when these two are at top dead center,
Well, that is bottom and it's tight.
yeah, they are. There's a couple spots I noticed.
Yeah.
But as these go towards top dead center, right before they get up, or right at the top, is when I noticed it in the car.
Oh, right after.
Maybe right after.
It's a
Like I
very
said,
hard to pull.
it could be something that you might not notice quite as much.
And that's the water resistance. It's
I just want you to see it.
so. We pulled the cover off, and there's a Allen bolt that goes right through the middle of the cams. It was not even tight. It was literally about to fall out. There's a bolt that goes through here and one on the other side.
Just hold the cover on.
It just holds the cover on. It's not that important, you know.
Just holds on this cover right here.
But it had standard nuts on metric bolts, and of course the intake, about half of the bottom row wasn't tight at all. And he went just now. Go ahead and show him what you're doing.
I'm taking this tensioner loose right here.
Yeah,
Just a serpentine belt
which
tensioner.
is behind that cover.
I got this ready to go. I laid it right here, and I dropped my ratchet. And I almost literally dropped it because the bolt was loose. So I told Brandon, asking him if he saw this.
So let's check the rest of
So I
it.
went to the rest.
So there you go, man. So we have found the wrong nuts on bolts. Standard thread and metric thread are different. There's a reason they're called different things. I found that the engine mount bolts were loose earlier. The intake bolts were loose. What else do we find that was loose so far? The oil pan, absolutely mint. Oil pan was, Jesus Christ, was it tight? Everything on it. Oh, and the manifold, the turbo manifold was extremely tight.
Yeah, turbo manifold definitely got tightened down.
So we're going to keep digging down, and you know, I of course stopped because I myself have no idea, you know, on this aspect of engine. I'm not going to even get in his way. I'm just setting to the side. I'm sure there's more loose and untorqued things. This is a little organization box he's got. He's putting stuff in. I'm sure if we just prod around, we'll find some more stuff loose.
Sure.
But whatever. I'm gonna get out of his way and let him continue to disassemble this engine so we can see what we can see.
Shouldn't have much resistance. See, the first thing on these motors, normally, if you lose oil pressure real bad, a lot of times the very first thing that goes is the head.
But that looks fine. But he did go them down.
Yeah.
Well, so far so good. we should have no resistance, theoretically.
No, you're just spinning the crank. Ain't no plug done. Pistons contacting the Supra itself.
Easy peasy. Guess what?
Spinning that around.
All your resistance is gone. What does that tell you?
It having one or two very specific hard spots.
So,
If it had multiple hard spots, I would say it's possible, Jared Blair mentioned this, that the valve springs themselves, just the strength of the valve spring is what it should have been fixed. Right, just rolling across the load, but you felt it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what stiff valve springs feel like.
Yeah, and this is
This
is perfect.
that was smooth as silk. And it had a, you know, all at once.
You can't convince me that valve springs on. I mean, it's possible and they'll rule anything out, but that's perfect.
It ain't nothing down here, not with the valves closed. I don't think that was ever the problem. It was hitting the valves. That's what an engine builder.
Cut the top of it. You have to fly cut it more because the actual valve.
Okay, so this is gonna be the end of the video for today. We got the head off of it. The valves are just lightly touching. This was supposed to be in 0 decked, and so far Brad is up to probably 25 thousandths.
I'm on 20 right now.
It's still under.
Yeah.
That's a 20 thousandths shim.
Or 21, 22,000.
I'm gonna say, yeah, closer to 22.
It's 22.
Yeah. 22 thousandths out of the hole when it's.
And I can just about still feel it. I'd call that fair.
Yeah.
I'm at 22 thousandths.
Okay, let me get right where you're at, and then I'll let you point out some stuff. And oh, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's not really showing up on here.
Let's see it on this number 6 worse.
Yeah.
This is the one that keeps knocking valves out of anyway.
So that tells me that this head is not square decked.
Yeah.
This
It's-
one is.
Yeah, this
Maybe.
fresh head.
See that line right there?
Yep. Well, back you light up a little way. Point at it again.
Right there.
Yeah, it's hitting there,
Right
there, and then on this head or this one, you can see it right there. Very, very obvious.
Yep.
It's hitting only on half.
Got the valve release to the piston.
Yeah. That one is showing from there to there, where it's been hitting at one point. And then there to there, you can see that end has hit. And this thing has not been revved for any reason. Once this thing gets hot and heated up, yeah, you can see the line. There to there, where that half had been hitting. So once this thing heated up and actually was under a load,
Up here.
oh yeah, you can see where the pistons,
The piston's touching the head.
yeah.
Look, did you see it, Corey? The quench pad
Wow.
on the bottom? Yeah, you can see
Wow. So what we were feeling was the tops of the pistons probably touching the head.
it. Yep.
Oh my God.
Touches enough to where it squished the oil out of the dirt.
I know it sounds stupid, but do they make a thicker head gasket for these engines?
Yep. Oh yeah, you can choose
that's-
whatever thickness you want.
So that's what has to happen now.
That's all you can do.
Go fix the valves again.
And guess what's not going to happen? That other head gasket's not going to get copper coated and put back on this nice engine.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
This one, that's a 1.2. The factory gasket's a 1.3. When the engine got here, it had a factory, like twin turbo gasket on it, which would have been before this last deck and rebuild and everything else that's happened. When it first got here, when it was first put together, it probably had just enough clearance to clear the valves, and the pistons probably weren't touching the head and all that stuff until it was being revved and ran really hard. You know, this thing was spun over 9,000. So, back then. So I'd say the big RPMs and the heat and all that stuff, over time, let it started just barely touching valves here or there. And then when it got here, and it got tore down, I found the one major bent valve that you showed to start with. And it seemed like a pretty obvious, well, it's on one cylinder, it's one valve, probably a lean out issue or something from injection on that cylinder. Probably what caused it, that's what I assumed, and we did a valve job, put all new valves in it, put a new gasket on it. I bought the 1.2 to put back on it for no particular reason other than habit. Put that back on, because usually that's fine. On any motor that's actually zero decked, like that 2J right there,
Yeah.
which is just a stock.
Which is flush.
It should
That's
just
what
be-
it's supposed to look
should be
like.
just like that. This engine over here evidently has been decked a handful of times. I was unaware of that.
Or, if it hasn't, it's got pistons made. Well, no, they don't have tall decks of these engines. It's not like
No,
a
it's
big
just-
block or a small block.
You can get structure kits and stuff, but that'd be red line.
Yeah. So this block has just been decked.
Yeah, it's been decked
Couple times.
3 times probably, maybe more. But that was just something I was unaware of in the beginning, and it was something I
And there's
should-
no way for us to know without.
No, it's something that I should have measured right from the very beginning just to see. But it was just a matter of not having this experience before to know, hey, I need to look for that. I just saw a bent valve on one cylinder, and I was like, it's got to just be a bent valve.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Feel that big baby.
Oh, wow. It's fun.
Oh my God.
Piston.
That has had water sitting in it.
Mm-hmm.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
It's got an awful sharp scrape on it, don't it? All the
Got
way
a good
around.
one on this side.
Ring was stuck. I'd say the ring was stuck, rusted solid.
Well,
He put it back together anyway.
Yeah, he put it back together anyways.
who cares?
That hole should have been checked.
Well, this engine was.
Yeah, it's all the way around like that. Dead in line with where a ring would sit.
Why? Why would it be that way?
Because it's probably had a head gasket blowed at some point, and it's let water seep in, and it's set with that piston to that height.
Well,
Well, that does it for today.
there you go.
We got something to work off of, and we'll continue this as we know what to do with it. See you guys on the next one.